Mr. Zahawi is under pressure to explain himself and explain his tax problems. Now, I had certainly got the impression that Mr. Zahawi was a poor boy who'd come over from Iraq and made good, that he'd done well for himself here and was giving something back to the country. But as I search, I find that he's a man with form. Scandal seems to attach itself to him. So there's two particular scandals which I want to draw your attention to. The first is the fact that he wrongly told officials, quote, he wrongly told officials, in other words, he lied, that he had not exchanged WhatsApp messages with David Cameron before it emerged that they had all been deleted from his phone. This is an article from the Times. And this was at a time when David Cameron, the former Prime Minister, was trying to secure government loans for Greensill Capital. It turns out that he and Nadim Zahawi were exchanging messages. And this is extremely worrying. This is a man who has already been caught out lying. I'm simply quoting what the Times is saying. I don't think I even need to put the word allegedly there. But apparently, the messages which he said he didn't send were deleted from his phone. So there's some need for explanation there. A more worrying story is a story which was quite neatly tidied up by the then Chief Whip, I presume. And I'm a little bit sorry about that because it shows another side to Nadim Zahawi's character, a side which seems, blasé about moral concerns. He attended a big gala charity in 2018, and it was described by the Financial Times as a sleazy charity event where 130 tall, thin, pretty girls came out to an audience of 300 men. It was described as the most un-PC event of the year. The Labour MP Sarah Jones said, if it transpires the minister did not report his concerns, it is obvious he needs to resign. Our women are too important, our young girls are too important to get this kind of message from our leaders. As a result of that, Mr. Zahawi was called into the Chief Whip's office, and he eventually comes out with a tweet, I condemn this behaviour, I will never attend a men-only function ever. Sources said later that he felt uncomfortable and left when the hostesses were introduced. Well, he wasn't the only person who left at that point, if he did leave at that point. David Williams, the host, left before the hostesses were introduced. Did he know about it? God knows. The charities for whom this event had raised money promptly returned all the money they'd been sent, including £530,000 for the Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital. So this is an extraordinary tale that seems to have ducked beneath the headlines, and it certainly hasn't been plucked out by the Times or any of these other newspapers who are reviewing Mr. Zahawi's extremely odd affairs at the moment. He said at the time of the what was it called, I can't remember this event. It was held in the Dorchester Hotel anyway. He said, I've been consistent. I told number 10 and friends that I arrived at 8 p.m. and left at 9:35 p.m. As I felt uncomfortable. I did not see any of the horrific events reported by the Financial Times. I'm shocked by them and condemn them unequivocally. Well, the point at which you condemn an event unequivocally is the moment you leave, particularly if you are a minister, when the press is swarming around you and wondering why you're leaving early. That's the moment when you say something, not 2 or 3 days later after you've been hauled up to the whip's office. So the problem with Mr. Zahawi, he may be absolutely innocent. One hopes he is, but it doesn't really matter, because the problem is these stories erode, they chip away at trust. And at this particular moment, I think it's less important for Mr. Sunak to be surrounded by loyal friends, or indeed to display loyalty to his friends. And it's more important for him to send a signal to the wider community, not only of Conservative voters, but of people in our country who look upon him as the Prime Minister of our government, that he can inspire trust and that he commands trust. At the moment, the more he ducks his responsibility, the more he looks untrustworthy. The Prime Minister looks untrustworthy because he is hiding in the shadow of this man who has form as somebody who at least doesn't call out the dodgy at the point when he sees it. That is the problem.